But welcome, and as my name is Malin, and let's start off with this. I was born in 1992. I did an entrance together with my twin sister Anna, left, and I'm the cool cat on the right. We've always been competitive, and I remember this one time I just got my first pair of glasses, and I looked fabulous, I felt fabulous, and I really wanted to show my grandparents. So we went there, and I stepped up towards my grandparents. And just as I'm about to do this, my sister takes one step ahead and she starts whistling for the first time. It's been both good and bad competition. I remember this one time also where we broke our right arms 1 week in between. That's bad competition. But I broke my arm first, so I win. But jokes aside, we've always pushed each other forward, and that's a blessing. Fast forward a couple of years. Right after high school, I started studying at the University of Gothenburg, and I started with molecular biology. And I was super interested in the human body and its functions, and I still am. 3 years at the university, I met some cool people. I ate some late night tacos while studying, and I had a great time. And after 3 years, I got a paid scholarship to keep doing my bachelor thesis research, which was on schizophrenia. And I did that for some time until I realized that this wasn't for me at all. I couldn't wait for results for several years. So a friend of mine told me about this master in biomedicine. So it was at Sahlgrenska School of Innovation, and they have a tight collaboration with Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship. And I thought that would suit me. I applied and I got in. 2 more years at the university. So I just had 6+ years at the university. And the only thing I knew was that I didn't want to become a management consultant. Good start. So what do you do when you graduate? You search for a job. And I did. Tons of applications. And tons of applications later, with a lot of no's, a lot of no answers, which is very common, I got an offer as an account manager at a large tech consultancy firm. And I really didn't want that job. Not at all. But it was an offer. But someone heard me because that same week I got a call from a headhunter. Almi Invest was looking for a new investment analyst. And I got it. And that job really put me on the right path, and it put me on the path that I am today. So what do I do now? I work with Gothenburg Tech Week. I am the co-founder and organizer of Gothenburg Tech Week, and it's for anyone who's interested in tech and entrepreneurship in Gothenburg. And we invite and engage companies regionally, internationally, nationally, in order to create knowledge and create experiences and inspire people. And the purpose of that is to build and engage more the ecosystem in Gothenburg. We have entrepreneurs, startups, scale-ups, industry, and we want to create and for them to become more competitive. And now you've heard a lot about me. If you have any questions about me or my background, just grab me in the end of this. But we are moving on to the tech ecosystem, Gothenburg. And how many of you feel that they're a part of the tech ecosystem here in Gothenburg today? Incubator, master, bachelor. Good, there's a few. Then you know what we're going to talk about today. So we are going to start with unicorns because it's been some discussions about this. Göteborgs-Posten have written about it, Break It, and we lack unicorns. And we do. United States have many, China has many, Sweden has a few. But per capita, though, Sweden is doing pretty great, actually. In Stockholm, we have fintech, we have games, we have cybersecurity, we have health, we have energy unicorns. But what is the traits of a unicorn? They are they have a disruptive innovation. They are the starters or the firsts in their industry. They are very consumer focused, and they have a business model that runs on technology. So why don't we have any unicorns in Gothenburg? I mean, we have a lot of companies, we have great companies. And according to Lena Aple, she's been in Göteborgs-Posten, they've written about her in Break It, and she says that it's too gray and windy here, referring to the startup scene or the tech community. And she also says that the heavyweights, the industry heavyweights in Gothenburg, Volvo, SKF, has created a bit deep-rooted community. And I agree with her that because she also says that Gothenburg startups and Gothenburg founders lack confidence. And I agree with her. Confidence is key. And you should always start with fake it till you make it. Someone can turn their phone off. Fine. Oh, it's over there. Okay. That's a loud signal, though, right? Anyway, fake it till you make it. That's always a good start. Because when you get enough knowledge, when you get enough experience, you can turn that fake confidence into real confidence. And the same with the heavyweights, the industry heavyweights. Without our deep-rooted industry, we wouldn't have Gothenburg, and we like Gothenburg, right? So, it's interesting that so many people focus on the problem, because they've written about unicorns, lack of capital, and it's always easier to focus on the problem, because the problem is always very obvious, but the solution is rather hard to find. And I'm a big fan of the why. So today I'm asking why. And to ask why, we need to go into the tech ecosystem again. Because there are a few variables that encourage ecosystems to thrive and grow. For example, here in Gothenburg, we have universities, we have successful tech companies, we have informal leaders. And looking at the universities, we have two. We have Chalmers and we have the University of Gothenburg. Both attract foreign talent, they have strong technical progress, and they have good entrepreneurship programs, which is awesome. We have successful tech companies. A few of them, Recorded Future, we have Cellink, that has now changed name. We have Einride, we have Heart Aerospace. We have a lot of companies and a lot of founders that can inspire others. But we tick some boxes, but we also lack some. Accelerators, tech reporters, informal leaders. We have some accelerators in Gothenburg, but we need more. Accelerators are important because what we need is we need to create a network. We need to create support for companies that leave the startup phase and go into the scale-up phase. And we need a less fragmented support for them. We need to create this network of investors and collaboration partners. Tech reporters. We have Göteborgs-Posten in Gothenburg, and they refuse to write about the tech ecosystem in Gothenburg, which is interesting. The reporter that should cover Gothenburg sits in Stockholm, which is interesting. So maybe in the future they will start write about this, but we'll see. We have Break It, and they've had a reporter here before covering parts of Gothenburg. We don't have any reporter here now, but Stefan, a reporter there, he writes a bit about Gothenburg, and he's been down here doing some scouting. And they say that they want to become more present here in Gothenburg, which they should, because we have great companies here. and we have great stories. And we shouldn't invent the wheel again. We should use the media that exists. So we need to ask Break It what it takes for them to actually start writing about things here. Because we've sent a lot of things to them. We've sent a lot of news. But they always reply that we have too early startups here. And that the success stories are too early. And they need to also be aware that we have a lot of newly started companies here. We lack support for growth companies. So we will have a lot of newly staged startups. And there's this old adage that says that if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, has it really made a sound? And like it's likewise for startup success stories. If they don't have an amplifier, they won't be heard and they can't inspire others. Informal leaders. As I said, we have a lot of great tech companies with leaders, but they need to step up. We need to talk about this more because we need more mentors for new companies and founders. Moving on to another topic that has been talked about a lot. Capital. They say we lack it here, and to be fair, no capital, no unicorns. Because capitals are made, or unicorns are made of money, a lot of money. And to be fair, I mean, today you can get money and you can get capital without even being profitable. You need a good network, you need good contacts, and capital will always be a growth factor, nothing else. According to this Swedish venture capitalists, 2% of the capital went to Gothenburg, 2%. 81% went to Stockholm, and we even got beaten by Malmö, who got 7%. Not good. So why is that? Why do we get 2% of the venture capital? Well, it depends on what kind of capital we're looking at. Because the major venture capitalist firms rather invest in software-based companies than research-based companies. And in Gothenburg, what do we have? We have a lot of research-based companies. And research-based companies take a lot of time, they have longer to the market, and they need more money in initial phase, and they need a lot of money during their whole journey. Gothenburg has great support for early stage startups and early stage companies. What we lack is support for the companies that enter heavy growth and expansion. Capital comes in different forms. What we want here is experienced capital. And that could be experiences around how to make money. But it's also around the fact that knowing how startups and scale-ups in Gothenburg works, because we have different kind of companies here. It can also be, experienced capital is also about knowing how to mentor companies and how to scale them. Another factor for a good capital support is investors that understand the global fundraising process, and not only the local and the national, so the global. How do you find investors? How do you grow in different markets? Looking at Sweden, looking at Europe, it's especially important because Europe is very fragmented. It's different laws. The countries works in different ways. In the US, it's all the same. So it's very important with the global fundraising journey. And these are quite hard to find. If your local ecosystem has it, you're lucky. And looking at, like, Gothenburg is an emerging ecosystem, tech ecosystem, and the problem, or the what do you call it? as a whole, if you would look at the experience capital, having those individuals here is a great benefit because they can teach other investors how to think global. So having them here creates a much you can grow your ecosystem a lot faster if you actually have a few of these individuals in your ecosystem. And we have a lot of good companies here. We have, and they can take the semi experienced capital, but they have another angle on it, so they can see it from another side. But we still need this experienced capital that can have the global aspect of it. In Gothenburg, we have a few larger privately owned investment companies, such as Formica and Kjällström, for example. Formica invests in sustainable companies of tomorrow, while Kjällström invites in tech and industry companies, and they develop, run, and acquire these kind of companies. Though Kjällström has actually invested in Naked, Doctor 24, but looking at a lot of the capital here, it's traditional capital, and traditional capital invests in traditional industry. Gothenburg is attracting capital. We have great companies here. We know for a fact that investors outside Gothenburg want to come here. They want to invest in Gothenburg. It's not the capital is not just it's not located here, but as I was telling you, we need the experienced capital here, but we don't need all capital because it's easy to have things digitally today. It's easy to go to Stockholm. It's easy to go down to Copenhagen, Malmö. So we don't need all the capital here. There's a few scenarios because either the companies realize that they don't have the support here and they move because they can grow somewhere else and find capital somewhere else, or they are left here, get no support, no capital, and dies. And the third scenario, which we really should go for, is the one where we create support for the startups up towards scale-ups so they can grow here, and we can bring the capital here, and we can bring them to the capital. We are on a time limit, but I wanted to end with some pretty awesome news. And the first one is that on the 29th of October, Gothenburg Tech Week is arranging a capital meetup. So if you're a company that seeks between 10 to 60 million Swedish crowns, call me, email me. If you're an investor that's looking for your new opportunity, also email me, call me. The second one is that WeApp, a beloved company, friends of mine, have moved to a new office. So if you haven't met them, you should meet them because they're awesome. Math app Albert is soon listed on the stock exchange, Gothenburg-based company. We have Hard Aerospace. They closed a round of $35 million this summer, Gothenburg-based, also awesome. And something called The Yard. We actually have one of those working with The Yard here today. It's opening up next year. It's a new arena for growth companies within tech. That will be very interesting to see where that comes, how that goes. And the last one is not a regional news; it's more of an international news or national. AMF, the pension fund, has invested in Cake, which is electric motorcycles. And it's interesting because that's a whole new topic, and I won't talk about that right now. But it's interesting if you would think of where our pension money is actually going and moving. Because if this is the new to invest in this kind of growth capital or growth companies, this could be interesting. And Cake actually raised 500 million Swedish crowns, a fantastic amount of money. Thank you. You got to dip your toes into unicorns and capital and some tech ecosystem in Gothenburg today. If you have questions, ask them now or just grab me for a coffee later. Good to see you. Thank you.